this batch, particularly this batch I'm talking about. Boys are not smart in studies, but smart in every other thing, which we don't want here. Especially the zero. You're coming here to study, not to say anything stupid in the classroom. Now, okay, we had finished with nutrition, we have finished with respiration. Today we will be studying about transportation. We'll study about transportation, which are the organs, parts, functions, process we are going to study related to transportation. Did you go through nutrition, respiration, anything to clarify from these parts of the chapter?
I had already started transportation.
Any doubts regarding nutrition and respiration, anything to clarify? Did you go through the questions of the volume, all of you? How many are absent? Where's the attendance sheet? You all signed? No, already signed?
2 girls are absent.
Two girls absent. This side also quite enough. Only one boy. 4, 5 absent. Okay. What happened? AC का हवा नहीं आ रहा है. Now, again, any doubts to clarify from respiration? What did we study? Nutrition, we had already studied the entire process of nutrition in human. We had studied nutrition in amoeba, the alimentary canal, the digestive system in total. We had studied. Anything from there to clarify? Again, I repeat, go through, study, then only you'll have doubts. Respiration, we had studied. What are the two different modes of respiration? Then what are the different pathways of glucose breakdown? We had studied that. Under what different situation, what different products?
Aquatic animals.
No, this was only the difference that we had talked about, that what would happen to an aquatic or a terrestrial organism. Modes of respiration are different and the pathways of glucose breakdown different. Then we had studied the respiratory system in human, the parts, functions, features of the respiratory surfaces. All these are the typical questions that you will get. Take down 5 questions. Let us see if you are able to answer them. Respiration, take 5 questions. Now, these are all questions either from your book or the volume that I am giving you now. Few questions from the volume also we'll have to solve, and few questions from few questions from the textbook. Now, did you all see that the questions of the textbook, NCERT questions, are answered in the volume? Did you see that?
Yes.
Did you see the answers are all given there in the volume? So check for the answers, go through the answers. You have a doubt, you are going to clarify. You are supposed to clarify the confusion that you have related to any question that you come across, any answer that you come across. Take few questions now on respiration. Right, number 1. Mention two features of respiratory surfaces that enable. Just check if I have given you this question, then you will not repeat. Give it. Mention two features of respiratory surfaces that enable gaseous exchange. Did we do this question? Check karna. If you have done it, then you will not repeat. No? Okay, leave 3-4 lines for the answer. Number two. This is artery vein. We have started with transportation that much.
Yes.
Transportation we have finished. Transportation we have finished all.
No, in humans we have finished. From plants we have.
Achha, humans already we have finished. 3-4 lines for the answer. Question number 2. happens to the diaphragm during exhalation? Exhalation. Exhalation. 2 lines for the answer. Number 3. Name the special structures present around the windpipe. Full stop. Next part of the same question. Mention its role.
Mention.
Its role. Mention, I said. Mention or name, I said. Name the special structure present around the windpipe. Full stop. Next part of the same question. Mention its role. Mention its role. 2-3 lines for the answer. Question number 4. Question number 4. Name the blood vessels. Name the blood vessels that carry blood away from the body. Away from the heart and towards the heart. Away from the heart and towards the heart. 2 names you have to write there. Away from the heart and towards the heart.
You have to write the 2 different blood vessels.
Away from the heart and towards the heart. 2 lines for the answer. Next question 6 it is. 5. Number 5. Number 5.
Away from the heart and towards
Name the special structures present inside the heart. Name the special structures present inside the heart that prevent the backflow of the blood. Special structures present inside the heart that prevent the backflow of the blood. Full stop. Name, next part of the same question. Name 2 prominent valves. Name 2 prominent valves present.
Name 2 prominent
Valves present between the right chambers. Present between the right chambers and the left chambers of the heart. Answer these questions. I'll give you 10 minutes, not more than that. Fast karo.
right hand.
Diagrams, all of you are done with the diagrams?
Yes, ma'am.
Digestive system, respiratory system, and the diagram of the heart we had done last class. Done no last class?
That we have to know the digestive system.
And the respiratory system.
Very simple.
Digestive was drawn already. Digestive was drawn already. Diagram of the heart we had done the last class.
Yes.
Did we do or we did not? Diagram of the heart we haven't done that much, no? Diagram of the heart we haven't done. Okay. So diagram of the heart we are going to do today.
What you explained, right?
Explain. Diagram of the heart we did वो नहीं किया. हाँ. So diagram, both the diagrams over for all of you. Digestive, respiratory. Show me the diagrams. Diagram. Respiratory not over. Digestive over. Digestive system diagram also not over. Why? Next class is show. Digestive system diagram. All of you will show me your diagrams now. Label parts and show me the diagram. Show me the diagram. Why did you label with a pen? Pen? They're allowing you to label with a pen, but that's wrong. Which school it is? You should label with pencil. When you mark the parts of the diagram, the arrow should be to which portion you want to mark. Okay, this is mentioned also when I draw the diagram. Now that we draw the diagram again, I will show you. The previous one, not the. Next. Respiratory system diagram, the other book.
Yes.
Diagram you have to practice, huh? These diagrams.
Yes.
Just you draw neat, proper label diagram close to what is there in the book, you get full marks. Practice. This diagram you have to practice. Every practice with you. Respiratory system, complete the diagram of respiratory system. Relax. Why? Well, I'll just join the other book. What is so special in that other book that you selection of diagrams there?
No, ma'am, I didn't read the book. till then.
This is your bio book. No, I did not draw the diagram.
I have written all the things, but I thought that I will draw the diagram later. First I will write, then I forgot to.
No explanation. Explanation. I've been telling you every day. No, every day I say this. Did you finish the diagram? Did you finish the diagrams? For the last 2-3 weeks, I've been saying the same. This side, both not done. Both the diagrams not done. Digestive system we have finished long time back now. I think more than 3 weeks now we have finished digestive system. No time. Those of you did not finish your work of digestive and respiratory system in human. Alveolus. Alveolus. Huh?
Respiratory system is the alveolus we will do.
Why not?
I am saying this answer.
Alveolus ही तो include करोगे. Remember when I had explained you the concept of exchange of gases and all, where did I mark the respiratory surface? These two diagrams will finish before you come for the next class. Read out.
Respiratory surfaces are it enables transport of oxygen from the blood to the body cells. And the second one, it enables transport of CO2 from the body cells to the
मैं
blood.
teachers मैंने पूछा. This is your diagram. Why sir like this? Option है. Are you sure that only this diagram is going to come? That diagram will not come.
I'll do it.
Those of you haven't shown me the work, write down on another sheet of paper. The next paper you write down, next page you write down that you'll have to draw the diagram of the digestive and the respiratory system. लिख के रखो. And the next class also, if the diagrams are not filled, I will ask Meena ma'am to send a message to your parents. अच्छा ये लिखना है excuse He brought his sisters in. पहली बार सुन रही हूँ ऐसे. ब्रदर का बुक भी लेके आते हैं, सिस्टर का बुक भी लेके आते हैं by mistake. You were late, so you picked up. Why not your book in a hurry? Why sister's book in a hurry? Don't tell me any nonsense, huh? No nonsense. तुम लोगों ने diagram नहीं दिखाया, लिख के रखो in the next page. Draw diagrams of digestive and respiratory system. Next class in that page only I am going to sign. Diagrams नहीं रहेगा, बिना मैं वही पेज का picture लेके parents को भेजेंगे. For you, no need. But हाँ, you did not show the digestive.
I showed the
Digestive, you did not show the respiratory. कोई बना. Okay, girls also did not show me both. Both you showed me. Okay. Next class नहीं बनाना, अभी बनाना. Now finish up. Done? Did you write all the answers? We will discuss the answers now. Check whether you have written all the points correctly. स्कूल में हॉलीडे होमवर्क कुछ दिया है रिलेटेड टू योर सब्जेक्ट्स नो ऑल रिलेटेड टू योर सब्जेक्ट साइंस के कुछ नहीं यू मॉडल बना लो
One diagram of this
on the diagrams of this chapter
It's not
biology में ही okay what happened why are you dancing क्या हुआ ऐसे कैसे
जैसे आपके वो
उसका रोल में हम लोग को कोलैप्स हो रहा है
इसमें ये भी लिख सकते कि वो फूड में और मिल्क पाइप को
नहीं वो तो फैरिक्स
वो कोलैप्स का लिखना है
चलो we'll discuss the answer see what you have written mistake है तो correct करो चलो we'll complete now discuss the answers one by one take the first question what is it mention two features of respiratory surface what are the two special features of respiratory surface what are the two features of respiratory surface read out what you have written who has written that answer I heard your answer that's not very correct what did you write that you know I gave you also these points to be written when I had explained you what are the two special features of a respiratory organ what are the two special features of a respiratory surface number one what is it
the wall is one cell thick
number one the special features of a respiratory organ is the membrane has to be thin the wall has to be thin the wall is thin made up of a single layer of epithelial cells wall is thin made
वो
up of
alveolar है लेकिन alveolus
alveoli the wall is thin made up of single layer of epithelial cells that is one feature of a respiratory organ
respiratory surface
respiratory surface is meaning we are talking about the lungs now the alveolus
contains extensive क्या बोल सकते हैं
Numbers.
groups of blood vessels which
Vessels.
helps in exchange of gases
yes
groups बोलेंगे कुछ और
extensive network so what is the second feature of the respiratory surface जहाँ पे exchange of gases can be carried out blood has to be there so richly supplied with blood vessels richly supplied with blood vessels so you are writing the features of alveolus you are writing down the features of the alveolus itself so this is what
alveolus is one cell thick
the wall is thin made up of
epithelial cells
single layer of epithelial cells made up of single layer only one layer it is not a number of layers making the region thick like the trachea or the bronchi and that's the reason the exchange of gases cannot happen there are there blood vessels surrounding the trachea blood vessels are everywhere no blood vessels are there surrounding the trachea also bronchi also everywhere but exchange of gases why is it not happening in the trachea because the layers are thick the wall is thick diffusion cannot happen
I have written alveoli have one cell thick wall
single layer one
thick
cell and single layer makes a difference it is not only one cell that makes the alveolus single layer of cells single layer of epithelial cells single layer fine layer hai that's the reason diffusion can happen second feature richly supplied with blood vessels next
what happens to the diaphragm during during exhalation
the pronunciation is diaphragm diaphragm
and
what was my sentence I said the pronunciation is diaphragm tell me
I written it relaxes and it becomes curvy
relaxes and becomes curved yes what happens the becomes curved
ma'am we can write it comes back to
नहीं comes back to normal में तो again the teacher will put a question mark normal कैसे
जब inhale करते हैं तब वो flat हो जाता है
No.
जब
Inhale
exhale
करते
Yes. Remember, when you write answers, 10th standard students, remember this. When you are writing an answer, don't keep a flaw in your answer. The moment you give us doubt, we will straight away put a question mark. Normal meaning, if I have to assume, I will not give you mark. You have to justify clear on your paper that this is this and this is this. I am convinced, then I give you mark. You are writing normal, तो अभी मुझे assume करना पड़ेगा ना कि normal curved होता है कि flat होता है. So अगर मैं assume करूँगी तो definitely I am not going to give you mark. Always remember that. Answer जो तुम लिखो, answer should be clear. In those 2 lines, write down the correct concept, complete concept.
So I have written
Ambiguous answers कभी मत लिखो.
Ma'am, during inhalation, the diaphragm becomes curved.
नहीं.
Or
during
flattened.
exhalation.
During inhalation, it contracts and flattens.
Inhalation का कैसा
And exhalation में relaxes and relaxes and becomes curved. Relaxes and becomes curved.
Bends upwards towards the nose.
Bends upwards मत लिखो. Again I repeat, don't write ambiguous answers. लिखोगे मत. Becomes curved. Relaxes and becomes curved. Answers clear लिखो. No, don't leave any loophole in your answer that some marks are deducted. Number 3.
So during exhalation, the lungs relax and curve.
Lungs is not relax. Exhalation में तो lungs constrict हो रहा है. Exhalation में तो lungs constrict हो रहा है.
Inhalation में relax हो.
Inhalation में air fill in हो रहा है तो relax हो रहा है ना lungs. You are confused. What is your name? Gufran, you are confused between the concept of the lungs and the diaphragm.
वही बोलते हैं
Lungs expand हो रहा है, diaphragm contract हो रहा है. Inhalation. Exhalation में lungs stressed हो जा रहा है and the diaphragm relax हो जा रहा है. Number 3. हाँ. Special structures.
C-shape
Rings of cartilage, C-shaped rings of cartilage. Rings of cartilage, okay? या तो C-shaped rings of cartilage. Next. Even after forceful exhalation. Prevent collapsing of the windpipe even after forceful exhalation. Even after forceful exhalation prevents the collapsing. So forceful exhalation, that necessary to be written. Number 4.
Arteries name the blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart and towards the heart. Arteries are the vessels which carries blood away from the heart, and veins are the vessels which collect the blood from all of the different parts of the body and bring back to the heart.
Exception क्या है? No, I'm sorry. Direction for every artery the same, direction for every vein the same. But if the question would have been name the vessel which carries oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood, then you have to write the concept of the pulmonary and the pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein, which has an exception. So that you have to remember. Next, we talk about the next question. Go to number 5.
Structure inside the heart that prevents the backward flow of blood named to
Specialized valves on the right side chambers and the left side chambers. Okay. So first of all, what is the first part? Answer for the first part? Valves. And now name the valve, specialized valve on between the right chambers and the left chambers. Right chambers, what is that valve? Tricuspid. And left side? Bicuspid. Tricuspid is between the right chambers. Bicuspid between the left chambers. Done? You have the volume with you. All of you have your volume with you?
Yes, sir.
Some questions I think they have already done from the volume. Page 157, turn to page 157. Clear है? Anything? Any confusion? Any confusion this side, girls? Any confusion? Page 157. Turn to page 157 of your volume. Let us write answers for question number 24, transportation. Question number 24, transportation. Write down fast. Question number 24. Let us start answering these questions. Give reason for the following. Number 1, arteries are thick wall. 157. 157. Question number 24. Write down the first question. 24A. Write down. You have the book. Right. What are you doing now? Right.
I was thinking about the answer.
What will be the answer? Tell me now. You already thought a lot. Bolo.
Ma'am, because not to allow the gaseous exchange.
Arteries are thick wall. Do you remember I gave you certain diagrams to draw differences arteries and veins we had learned? The arteries are always
because that white blood cells.
Narrow lumen.
high. Exactly. The arteries are always thick walled. Why? Because the pressure of the blood in the artery is so high. So if the arteries would not have been thick, so how our body is made up? I mean, we have explanation for everything. Our body is made up in such a way to suit the needs of the body always. So the arteries are always thick walled because the pressure of the blood in the artery is so high. So if the wall would have been thin, every now and then here, there, our body would have suffered from rupture of the blood vessels. Even when you are running or screaming or laughing or dancing, the pressure of the blood is even higher. But at that time also the arteries are not rupturing. The artery, the wall is so resistant, the wall is thick, which can resist that much of blood flow, blood pressure. Right on the answer there? Arteries are thick walled, answer you right? The wall of the arteries are thick. Wall of the arteries are thick to resist the pressure of the blood. Wall of the arteries are thick to resist the pressure of the blood flowing in them. To resist the pressure of the blood flowing in them due to the contraction of the left ventricle. When will the blood enter the aorta? Which chamber should contract so that the blood enters the aorta?
Left ventricle.
No, left ventricle. Aorta carries what type of blood? Oxygenated. The right or the left side has oxygenated blood?
Yes.
Left side. So the left ventricle, when it contracts, the blood will enter into the aorta. Clear? Now, come to the next question. Next question, start. Write down the next question. What is the answer for the next question? Tell me. So if you remember, this was what we had discussed the other day, the section of the artery vein, the answer that you have just now written. Now we again talk about the structure of the heart. Remember, as you write down the answers, Come to the next question. What is the next? Blood goes only once to the artery in fishes. So the heart in fishes. They have got only two chambers, one auricle and one ventricle. So for them, what would be the route? The blood would enter the auricle, come to the ventricle, from the ventricle go to the body. Come to the auricle, go to the ventricle, from the ventricle go to the body. Only one route. For us, what is happening? Come to the right side, go to the ventricle, go to the lungs, then again the left auricle, ventricle, and then aorta, and then the heart back again. So for us, any amount of blood is entering the heart twice. Once the right side, lungs, again the left side, and body. What is the system of circulation known as? Double circulation. So in case of fishes, they have only one single pathway of blood, and that is known as single circulation. If it is single circulation for them, what is the disadvantage that they are suffering from?
Lower amount of deoxygenated blood.
Or less amount of oxygen to the tissues every time. Less amount of oxygen to the tissues every time. Why? Mixing of the blood in the heart every time. Since they don't have any separate chambers in the auricle and the ventricle, so the blood that enters from the body every time, which is deoxygenated, and the blood which is going down to the ventricle, again going to the gills, getting oxygenated and again coming back. Are there separate routes of entry of the oxygenated and deoxygenated? Nothing. So the blood is always mixing. So the blood which goes to the body parts has got a lesser amount of oxygen. If lesser amount of oxygen, then next what? Lesser amount of ATP production. So lesser the amount of oxygen to the cells, lesser is the energy production. What is the relation between oxygen entering the cells and the energy release? What is that process called? A particular cell, oxygen is entering, glucose is breaking down to release energy. उस process को क्या बोलते हैं? Anaerobic respiration या तो anaerobic बोलते हैं उसको कि aerobic बोलते हैं उसको? Aerobic respiration or cellular respiration. Aerobic respiration or cellular respiration. एक दूसरे को पूछ रहे सब सभी लोग कंफ्यूज्ड है सबके सब कंफ्यूज्ड है
फिश का ही लाइक एग्जांपल के ले रहे हैं तो फिर क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में कोई और एनिमल के बारे में
एनीथिंग
तो फिर भी मतलब सब
क्योंकि तुम्हारे बाइबल में वो फिश का स्टोरी लिखा हुआ है और कुछ एग्जांपल ही नहीं दिया गया है तो वही आएगा तुम्हारे क्वेश्चन उससे आगे और कुछ आएगा ही नहीं चलो लिखते हैं आंसर लेट अस राइट डाउन दैट आंसर नाउ व्हाट another answer that blood goes only once through the heart in fishes, right? Fishes have question के साथ answer लिखो. Now that you are writing down only the answer, उसके बाद it will be the same thing. You don't know which question के answers है ये सब.
UT page number 257.
UT
number 20.
Volume. हाँ.
फिशेस है के बाद
Fishes have two-chambered heart. Fishes have two-chambered heart. Fishes have two-chambered heart. And flow of blood follows a single pathway from body tissues to atrium
From body tissues
to atrium, which flows down to the ventricle, which flows down to the ventricle, to be supplied to the body tissues again, which comes down to the ventricle to be supplied to the body tissues again. Full stop.
Which flows down to the ventricle.
To be supplied to the body tissues again. Full stop. In this process, oxygen supply.
Okay,
Full stop. In this process, oxygen supply to the tissues is less. Oxygen supply to the tissues is less, and thus lesser is the energy release. And thus lesser is the energy release as compared to double circulation. As compared to double circulation. So only this two, right? We'll complete
Is
with
the
this
energy
answer.
released as compared to
Double circulation. Take number C. Plants have low energy needs. Now the transportation in plants we are going to study. Plants have low energy needs. Now say suppose I talk about same weight, two animals. I talk about one animal and a plant of the same body weight, of the same weight. Which organism will be having a higher energy requirement? Locomotion. So when we are talking about, maybe I talk about the dog and the same sized animal. I talk about a bird and a same size small herb maybe. So I'm comparing a small herb and the same body weight, a bird. I'm talking about a shrub and the same body weight, an animal, maybe the rat or a cat, etc. But where is the energy requirement more? Where is the energy need more? The energy need is always more in the small animal. I talk about the banyan tree and maybe one mammal I compare of the same weight. Where is the energy requirement? The more, maximum, always for the animal, never for the huge big trees ever. The reason is the trees or the plants are constantly showing various movement of the food, movement of the leaves and the flowers and the minerals, etc. But even then, since animals carry out the process of locomotion and muscle contraction, the energy requirement is so much in comparison with the plant. Let us write that answer there. Plants have low energy needs. Take that question. Plants have low energy needs. Plants have low energy needs, right? Energy requirement of a plant. Energy requirement of a plant is much lesser. Energy requirement of a plant is much lesser than an animal. Because animals show locomotion. Animals show locomotion. And
because animals show
locomotion and continuous muscle contraction. Animals show locomotion and continuous muscle contraction. And muscle contraction. Continuous muscle contraction. Full stop. Plants require small amount of energy only for plants require small amount of energy contractions. Plants require a small amount of energy only for distribution of water, minerals and food, distribution of water, minerals, food, etc. And division of cells, minerals, food, etc. And division of cells for the process of growth. Division of cells for the process of growth. Take the next one, continue. Why do ventricles have thicker walls than atria? Continue the same question. Ventricles have thicker wall than atria. We're going to draw this diagram now. Now, say suppose if I show you this diagram also, check here, one feature that we're going to draw now also is that if I look into a comparison of the right ventricle and the left ventricle, the left ventricular wall is very thick. Yes or no? The left ventricular wall is very thick. And second, if I compare the wall of the ventricle with that of the wall of the auricle, the wall of the auricle or the atria are even more thinner as compared to the wall of the ventricle. Now, what is the reason? Can you tell me what is the reason? The wall thickness or the thinness is majorly related with what?
Oxygenity.
Think again. The wall thickness and the thickness is majorly related to what?
Pressure of the arteries.
Exactly. Yes. I asked you a question.
The ventricle is thicker part of the ventricle. It has to push blood further towards the
Other parts of the body. Yes, what is the answer? Why do you think the wall of the atria is much thinner than the wall of the ventricle?
blood pressure.
Because of the flow of the blood, the pressure of the blood. So when we are talking about, yes, you mentioned about, that's why I asked.
मेरा आंसर चिपका रहा है मैं नहीं बोला उसको
Oxygenated and deoxygenated has nothing to do when we are talking about the wall thickness. Always you have studied, with respiration also you have studied. The moment we are talking about thickness or thinness of the wall, it has something to do with diffusion, it has something to do with pressure always. So now that I talk about with reference to the heart, now tell me, the wall of the auricle is very thin, but still, the wall of the auricle never ruptures, never breaks up so easily. Because they have to contract with a mild force, minimum pressure, because the blood has to only move from here to here. Now number two, I compare now the wall of the right ventricle with that of the wall of the left ventricle. The wall of the right ventricle is still thinner than the wall of the left ventricle. What do you think so? What may be the reason? The wall of the right ventricle is thinner as compared to the wall of the left ventricle. What can be the reason here?
Ma'am, because the right ventricle has to contract to send the blood towards the pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery. So,
And
towards the lungs.
oxygenated has nothing to do here. Again, remember, the wall thickness is only to do with pressure or diffusion. Only two things possible. So, with reference to heart, we are not talking about diffusion. Diffusion only for the lungs and the villi, intestine. Here, with reference to heart, we are only talking about the pressure. Now, pressure how? If I talk about the right ventricle has got thinner wall. Why? The pressure is lesser. The contraction force is lesser. How? How is it satisfying the body? Because here the contraction force need not be that great, because it is only supposed to push the blood to which organ?
Pulmonary.
It is supposed to push the blood only till the lungs. And the lungs is an organ very close to the heart. What about this particular chamber? This particular chamber should contract with a very great force and push the blood where?
To all the
blood to the aorta. And that particular force will allow the blood run into hundreds of arteries to reach every part of the body just in a couple of minutes. What happened? What is your age? Age क्या है? 14. Maturity कितने साल की है? हाँ? I am teaching you here, and you are fighting with that doubt. Nonsense. Now, again remember, this particular answer, these are a common question that you get a comparison with the wall. Let us write this answer then. What is this question here? Why do ventricles have thicker walls than atria, right? The force of contraction. Please repeat the question. You don't have the book with you?
I do.
So look into that. That is 25-1. 25, the first question. 25, the first question. Why do ventricles have thicker wall than atria, right? The force of contraction of the atria. Force of contraction of the atria is lesser.
Ma'am, why are we saying atria instead of atria?
Plural, both together. Force of contraction of the atria is lesser as the blood has to be pushed. Blood has to be pushed only till the ventricles is less or lesser. We are comparing with the ventricles. As the blood has to be pushed only till the ventricles. As the blood has to be pushed only till the ventricles. Full stop. In contrast, next slide. In contrast, ventricles contract. In contrast, ventricles contract at a greater force. Ventricles contract at a greater force as they have to push the blood away from the heart, to the lungs, away from the heart, to the lungs, away from the heart, to the lungs, or all other parts of the body. All other parts of the body. Away from the heart to all other parts of the body. Last question you will write. The wall, now this is a separate question which is not here. It is somewhere here in the volume. When you go through the questions, you will come across that question also.
Ma'am, you said that the left ventricle, it has to pump blood to all parts of the body. So even the right artery is receiving the blood from all the parts. So why doesn't it have a blood?
Right ventricle is not receiving the blood.
So right artery, right?
It is receiving. Receiving and pumping is two different things.
So but still the pressure would be higher, right?
No, pressure of the blood in a vein is very mild. Pressure of blood in a vein is very, very mild. The blood which is filling in the right atrium is filling with a low force. So the
capillaries
capillaries में when you talk about the capillaries, जो arteries divide होके जो capillary बन रहा है उसमें pressure ज़्यादा रहती है, and जो capillaries unite होके vein बन रहा है उसमें pressure कम रहता है. Meaning, I'll show you that image again. Meaning, when the blood is entering, if you remember this pictures, I think I've shown you the other day. If I talk about any particular feature, the other day I've shown you all these pictures. If you remember, I showed you that if it is an artery, the artery is always dividing to form capillaries and going towards the tissue. And on the other side, it is those capillaries only uniting together to form those veins. So if I talk about the artery carrying blood towards the tissue, obviously in those capillaries pressure ज़्यादा है. और जो सारे capillaries going away, वहाँ पे pressure कम हो जाता है. Meaning gradually pressure कम होता है.
And ma'am, also
Now write down that answer there. First, you write down that question. Then there is a problem in the heart. If a person has blockade in the tricuspid valves, bicuspid valves में अगर blockade है, what will happen? The entire process of contraction will differ. The entire process of contraction will change. The person becomes very tired at that time. How do we understand that we have problems in our heart? When we become very tired, maybe just walking 2 steps, we become tired. That is one of the indication that our heart is suffering from some major problem. Otherwise, you are running. Pain though, that talks about improper beating. Whenever there is a pain in the heart, persistent pain on the left chest is an indication that a person is suffering from some heart problems. And pressure related problems easily to understand now that you are walking down. Now say suppose those steps going down, generally not a problem for us. But now that you walk 2 steps down and you start panting and you start feeling breathless, is an indication that there's a problem in your heart. If a person has a problem with the heart, walking just 2 steps from here to here, the person becomes extremely tired and breathless. We don't understand because as long as God's mercy, as long as we are okay, healthy, we don't understand. We are walking, jumping, running, and you all are doing nonsense the entire day. So you don't understand that how much the heart is constantly pumping blood and oxygen. Understood? Let us. नहीं प्रॉब्लम होगा तुम जो पैकेट भर के चिप्स खा रहे हो ऑयल डिपॉजिट हो रहा है
अगर जो ब्लड हार्ट में ऑक्सीजनेटेड होता है मतलब बहुत तरीके से मतलब बॉडी पार्ट्स में आता है ना लंग्स के तो अगर उसमें से कुछ भी मतलब एक मतलब बोलते हैं ना एक पाइप बंद हो जाए ब्लॉक
एक पाइप अगर ब्लॉक होता है आवर बॉडी इज मेड अप इन सच अ वे एक पाइप ब्लॉक होगा द ब्लड विल फाइंड आउट अनदर रूट टू रीच दैट ऑर्गन तो मल्टीपल पाथवेज है जैसे ना फ्रॉम वाशी टू गो टू फ्रॉम चेंबूर टू गो टू सांता क्रूज देयर आर 3 डिफरेंट वेज वी कैन रीच so many flyover है या proper road से जाओ जो भी है so there are 5 different ways we can reach aorta में blockade है then the person will suffer from major तब immediately heart attack होगा angioplasty करना पड़ेगा etc so you increase your exercise and show a doctor obviously look at it when number of arteries get blocked and the body is not finding any alternative pathway on its own, generally the body finds an alternative. Stay slow. एक दूसरे को खींचने की जरूरत नहीं है. You talk. Your voice should be that powerful. पर टी-शर्ट खींच रहे हो क्यों?
मैम टी-शर्ट नहीं खींचा ऐसे कंधे पे
ऐसे
Behave yourself in the classroom. So now, if the body is not able to find an alternative pathway, then the person is majorly suffering from pain, swelling, and so many other discomfort. It is understood that the body is not supporting, you're not able to do your regular work also forget about all the running and the proper work. Just getting up from the bed and sitting and that much also a person is not able to do. Then, now, various different type of surgeries or special chemical substances in the form of injection has to go, dissolve the fat or clear up the fat and then clear up the fat. How exactly do you put drainage and all this to clear those files? Exactly like that. Either with the help of chemicals they will do, if not chemicals then we'll have to go for surgery. They. Huh? What happened? Write down the next question. So we had already written one question where we are comparing the auricle and the ventricle. Now we will write the last question comparing the right and the left ventricle. Let us complete that part.
Right and the left ventricle.
Write on the next question.
When a person gets injured,
Why is the wall of
that is the question.
अरे मैम खुद बोल रही है ना
यहाँ पे लिखो तुम
हम वो वाला नहीं करवा रहे
हम
हैं
difference है ना
ऑरिकल वेंट्रिकल का आंसर दे दिया
हाँ
हाँ अभी उसके बाद ये लिखो
difference है ना
नहीं why is the wall of the left ventricle much thicker why is the wall of the left ventricle much thicker than the wall of right ventricle
why is the ball
of left ventricle much thicker than the wall of
much thicker?
then
मेरा बोलो
और तुम लोग डिक्टेशन नहीं लिखते हो क्या कभी स्कूल में
नहीं करवा नहीं करवा
हम लोग करवा
हम थर्ड में लास्ट टाइम करा था उसके बाद नहीं
हाँ
करवा
मैम
एग्जैक्टली तुम लोग के स्पीड जो है ना इट्स रियली नॉट गुड देन एट
लास्ट डेट
चलो
अरे करवा
व्हाई इज द वॉल ऑफ द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल
much thicker
much thicker than the wall of the right ventricle than the wall of the right ventricle so this is what I explained you just now write down the answer
मैम do we have to write it or do we have to write it?
no I'm giving you the wall of I'm sorry the force of cut that word off the force of contraction right ventricle force of contraction of the right ventricle is mild as
is mine
mild M-I-L-D as it has to pump force of contraction right ventricle is mild as it has to pump
as it has to
blood only till the lungs. Full stop.
Only, we can write only till the lungs, which is very close to them.
Full stop. The force of contraction of the left ventricle is much greater. Force of contraction of the left ventricle is much greater as the blood has to be pumped
and what is at the left ventricle
is much greater you continue now leave one line and continue is much greater as the blood has to be pumped to all parts of the body has to be pumped to all parts of the body by the way of aorta. By the way of aorta. Has to be pumped to all parts of the body by the way of aorta. So actually the left ventricle is contracting at a greater force because it has to throw the blood to the further regions of the body. The right ventricle is contracting only with a minimum force because it has to throw the blood only till the lungs, which is very close to the heart. So this is the concept that you are writing down. Now I'll give you just 5 minutes time. Complete question number 25 2. Question number 25 2. And then you move on to page number 161. Move on, page 1. I will not repeat again and again. Once I say, I am saying it once, twice, you should get it. Page 161. Question number 62, you may do it in the volume itself. Page 161, question number 62, you will do it in the volume itself. Write down only the answer for the first question. The membranous covering of the heart. What is the membranous covering of the heart known as? The membranous covering of the heart is known as pericardium. Write down that word. The membranous covering of the heart, that is known as pericardium. So only the answer for the first one. The rest all you know, the rest all you are supposed to write down on your own. 5 minutes, finish your work now. Write down the answers in the volume itself.
And this is pericardium.
Pericardium, D-I-U-M.
Pericardia.
That you have written. That is your mistake. You have to write down this. Pericardium. Finish up. Now question number 62. I had asked you to do complete that. After that, we'll have to finish drawing the diagram of the heart. You have a doubt, you clarify. What happened to you? You just come to the class with your body and don't bring anything else. Brain भी घर पे ही छोड़ के आ जाता है. Just sitting here for mercy कि कोई तो पेंसिल दे दे, कोई शार्पनर दे दे.
Hemoglobin is
अब रेस्पिरेशन और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन दोनों सीखने के बाद अगर ये आंसर तुमको नहीं आ रहा है,
अरे नहीं just confirm
हीमोग्लोबिन में कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड
बहुत गंदा blood vessels which takes away the oxygenated blood from the air.
they are not mentioning anything about the lungs. Aorta.
मैं बोला एरोटा सुना नहीं है
5 minutes में काम खत्म करना है, not to sit and talk.
What is
क्या है liquid tissue? You tell me what it is. Blood. Plasma is tissue. Blood is a tissue.
And the fluid part of the blood is plasma.
Fluid part is plasma, but the tissue is not plasma. What is the tissue? Tissue is the blood. Blood is the tissue. Fast. Yes. Finish up your work fast.
लिक्विड टिश्यू का प्लाज्मा हो या ब्लड blood is made up of plasma WBC
fluid part of blood and plasma.
If it is tissue asked, not a noise at all in the classroom. Behave yourself.
Circulate blood or lymph
For what?
for the time when liquid tissue formed in
Blood.
Only blood.
I told you no blood. Then why are you unnecessarily creating the confusion? No, I told you blood. Class, no noise.
The blood vessels that takes the oxygen blood from the heart is pulmonary artery.
No.
Pulmonary vein.
Only aorta. Lungs is not mentioned there. So what is the, generally what are you supposed to write? The blood vessel which carries oxygenated blood away from the heart is the aorta. No? Till the lungs, if it is mentioned, then you write pulmonary artery. Gufran, behave yourself. Otherwise, I'll have to open the door for you. Behave yourself.
And ma'am,
Don't confuse anybody, and there's nothing to be excited, overexcited about anything.
an artery which carries pure deoxygenated blood is the pulmonary vein.
Vena cava. Vena cava. Yes, sir. What is the question? What is the question? Read again.
An artery which carries pure
Arteries which carries impure blood. Arteries which carry impure blood. Then pulmonary artery. Class. Yeah. Stop. There should not be noise in the class. All of you are done. What is the question?
The blood vessel that takes away oxygenated blood from heart.
Takes away aorta. Takes away oxygenated blood from the heart. Definitely aorta. No? How can it be pulmonary vein? How can it be? Lungs vein carry. Pulmonary vein. Remember the flow chart also the other day that we had written. And now let us start with the diagram. All of you start with the diagram. Is there will be no, now one more time I have to tell you, each and every one you are supposed to ask questions and interact, but no howling and making a noise in the class. Yes. Those of you are done, now start with the diagram. All of you done with those questions? Any doubt? Take out your notebook and start with the diagram. We are drawing the diagram of the human heart. Take out your pencils and draw the diagram of the human heart. You have drawn this. Everything is good, but this has to be a little bit conical. इसको खाली correct करो. हाँ? ये conical हो.
अबे भाई ऊपर ले ना.
No talking. Start drawing the diagram now.
ऊपर वाला कर मत. दोनों में इसी में दिया.
We are so used to talking like this in the school. No, that's why. See. Yes, no? Like that. Next. Finish with the diagram. Start, all of you.
हाँ ये बोल हार्ट ऐसे होता है.
हाँ? इसको ऐसे draw कर सकता. मैंने अभी इसको थोड़ा देर पहले क्या पूछा था? इसको पूछा था. किसको पूछा था?
क्या?
एज कितना है?
इसको पूछा था. Just 3.
तो 14-15 years का वो maturity भी 14-15 years की जैसे. You can't wait for 5 minutes. 5 minutes है ना? चलो fast. Now, as you draw the diagram, certain things to remember when you are drawing the diagram. You will always start with the heart. Draw the diagram. Start from the lower side of the page. Now, say suppose This is your page. As you start drawing, you will not start drawing from here because the upper part has to come. So you will start drawing from here, and your diagram should be at least this much. Start drawing from here. The ventricles you should always draw because now the auricles will come up there.
मैम ऐसा नहीं बनाना है
ये diagram बना पाओगे?
नहीं होगा
So you are drawing the typical simple diagram on the NCERT book only, and the diagram will be a little bit towards this side so that there is space here to lay. Okay? नहीं. Come on, start. At the same time, when you draw the diagram, most of you draw the diagram as a vase. ऐसा नहीं, it will be conical. It will be tapering, conical होगा. Start drawing the diagram. Who is talking? Complete karo, fast. As I am drawing, you also keep drawing the diagram. Next class also you will have to draw enough diagrams. To see that you already have your own pencil, eraser, sharpener, everything with you. बनाओ हाँ ये करेक्शन करो
तेरा मिस्टेक तो पेंसिल था मैंने देखा
ले देख
all these valves will come at one line यहाँ पे आएगा see that 3-4 things you'll have to check when you draw the diagram. So as it is, your diagram becomes of a correct shape. ये tapering होगा, conical होगा. This thin, this thick. As you draw, सारे valves almost at the same level. Run till here.
Yes.
Now that you know all the parts, so you are understanding one by one. When we label again, it will be much more clear which part you are drawing. So as you remember that which part I am drawing, so there is no chance of missing out any part. पेन से नहीं, पेंसिल से करो. He's drawing the diagram with pen. हम लोग भी 4 बार diagram erase करके बनाना पड़ रहा है. You are drawing with pen. Nice. Practice. You have to practice the diagrams nicely. Start till here.
Yes, ma'am.
No, man. You will consider another.
It was for deficiency.
Nobody will give him a pencil. But तुझे diagram खत्म कर किसी ने अगर तुमको डिसिप्लिन नहीं सिखाया, you will have to learn it right now.
पेंसिल बना दो।
कौन बना रहा है?
कौन? वो एक्सपर्ट है ना, उसके डायग्राम में चेक करने वाला। हाँ, पता ना, पूरा कंप्लीट करो पहले। इफेक्टिव वर्ड बना तो दे।
मेरा सेफ
Same but different.
बहुत गंदा था।
मतलब दो तीन स्ट्रोक करके बना ले। अब तुम पेन से बना रहे हो, उसके लिए मैं क्या करूँ? तुम इरेज करने का ऑप्शन नहीं है तुम्हारे पास।
अबे आप बोले अच्छे से बना दीजिए।
पहले अच्छे से नहीं बना।
यार ये दे ना इधर
और उसके
अभी हार्ट का डायग्राम स्केल करता है।
How can you come to your class like this? Do you go to school also like this without the pen and the pencil? अगले दिन भी देखना।
I'm done.
कल देखा।
I'm इसका डायग्राम
किसका?
मैं सही में बहुत अच्छा था।
किसका? ये vessels भी check करो when you are those of you are really doing it good. ये vessels भी check करो, they should not be unnecessarily long. Done. So this is the diagram, and then
हम completed.
हाँ diagram हो गया. Then only we are left with labeling.
तो बीच में होते हैं ना। हो गया।
Done with pen, pencil. Finish the diagram. Then after the break, then we'll finish labeling and transportation in plans. We are only left with
Where is
that.
the right hand?
You will find when I go to the answer. Nobody will erase the
साला
diagram.
mini printer. हाँ तो घुस जा। इरादी।
हाँ। चालू है भाई। स्क्रीन चालू है।
के बाद
भाई ये बस डायग्राम है भाई।
So beautiful,
Yeah, what do you think
so
of it?
elegant.
Just like आगे बोलता है तुम लोग। क्या
मेरा
क्या देख?
मेरा सब चाहिए।
ग्राफ
अरे यार
माया भी नीचे ला सकते हैं क्या?